Hi everyone! So unfortunately, I knew eventually this day would come. I was hoping it would not come for a long time, but as with any kind of social media anything, the bigger a channel or a page gets, the more likely people are to start having haters and trolls. And apparently we have officially gotten big enough to start having more frequent hater and troll type comments on the channel. So I thought today I would address it with you because I want to be clear on how I'm going to be handling these kinds of things. I also think some of the comments I've gotten in the last few months are quite funny and hilarious, albeit rude. So I thought I might share some of those with you today. And since I do have some plants I need to pot up that have been in water and some plants that I might need to repot as well, I figured we would do this kind of as a repot and chat style video. So let's go ahead and get started with a plant first, and then I will start kind of explaining to you how I'm going to handle hateful comments and trolls on the channel. So I do have both my epiphyte mix prepared here, and then also some of my forest floor mix because I do have a few crawlers or forest floor dwelling plants that we're going to plant up. So I think what we'll do is we will start with the last of the Calathea warskowestii cuttings that I rooted in water. And I'm just going to reuse this pot that I got one of my newest plants in for this guy. So while I'm getting going on this, let me just be clear about one thing. It's not that I have never had any kind of weird troll, hateful type comments before on the channel. They just used to come way few and far between. And now it's starting to kind of pick up a bit. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. But in general, I also want to be clear that the good comments by far outweigh the bad comments, you guys. You guys are awesome. These are just people who I'm guessing have just found the channel and just feel the need to say whatever they feel the need to say. So the main way that I am going to be handling this is basically some comments I will respond to. Some comments will just get deleted and people will get blocked immediately. And how I determine that, you guys, I think it'd be best if I start off by giving you an example of a comment that was kind of had me go, meh, I don't know why they had to say that. And then I reached out and said something and we had a conversation back and forth and the person ended up being very polite and nice about it. And we ended up on a okay space. And this is why some comments I will reply to. So basically I had a person a few months back who commented on the houseplant, the full houseplant tour I did back in January with a comment. Oh, and before I forget, you guys, I do have screenshots of a lot of what we're gonna be discussing today. Some of them I do not, so just bear with me if I don't have a screenshot for something, but where possible, I'm gonna show you the proof and I am gonna blur out people's screen names and whatnot because, you know, I don't want anybody like going after them. Not that I think any of you would do that, but you know what I mean. So this person had reached out and they liked the video, but the comment was something along the lines of, here she did a video for like an hour and 40 minutes. Clearly she knows how to take care of plants, but did she offer even one piece of plant care advice or something along those lines? So I read that and I was kind of annoyed for several reasons. One, I'm pretty sure I offered some sort of plant care advice at some point in that video. I pretty much offer some sort of plant care advice, just even subconsciously, not thinking about it in almost every video I do, I feel like. So that kind of annoyed me. I really didn't want to go back. Well, the day that I saw that comment, I didn't have time to go back and watch that whole video to see, like, did I really not mention a single thing about lighting or anything like that? I know I mentioned something about lighting, so that right there is plant care advice, in my opinion. So that annoyed me. And then the other thing that annoyed me was, it's a houseplant tour video. Like, it's about taking you around and showing you all of my plants. It's not a plant care video. And so I just politely replied back to the person and said, sorry about how you felt about that, but this was a houseplant tour video. And so the point was just to show the plants, but I do have a lot of separate houseplant care guides. If there was a particular plant in the video that you want to know more about, let me know and I'll give you a link to that exact video. So I posted this not knowing what was going to happen. And like I said, luckily in this situation, this person was very polite and understanding. I can't remember exactly what they said back, but once again, if I have it, it will be up on screen for you. I do remember that when they did say something back, they did comment about Toby, and this was after Toby had passed. And actually, I think that it was the most recent video I had released when this person made that comment was letting you guys know what had happened to Toby. And so kind of upset me, not like I wouldn't upset at them for mentioning like how cute Toby was, because obviously he's saying something nice about Toby, but I was kind of like, really, like, did you not see what my most recent video was about? And so I replied back again and I said, thank you. I guess maybe you haven't seen my most recent video, but unfortunately I had to say goodbye to him. They then commented back saying they had just watched my video. So I was kind of like, well, did you watch that video before you made the comment? You know, you could go edit your comment afterwards, right? But I decided to let it go. I was like, either they meant it as a jab or they didn't. They didn't seem like they were being mean or trolling or anything like that. And we ended on a, okay exchange. Also, I probably should point out right now, I don't know if any of these people who I'm going to be talking about are actually subscribers of the channel. This person might be. I'm pretty sure none of the other people are, and if they are, if they're gonna get upset by me calling them out, I mean, I'm not calling them out by name or anything, but calling them out for what they did in this video, some of you might be like, well, aren't you worried they're gonna unsubscribe or whatever? I could care less. Like, somebody needs to tell them that their behavior is not acceptable. But in general, what I'm hoping is that things will go the way they did with this person that I just explained. If there's like a misunderstanding or something, I can just comment and say, hey, I don't know that that's fair, here's why, and we can just have a polite adult exchange about it back and forth. However, with some people, you can't do that. And you're gonna get one of the craziest things I have ever experienced since starting this channel here in a bit. But we've got this one squared away. I will water her after we are done. So let's go ahead and do the next one that needs to be in the forest floor mix as well. And that is this Gloriosum, which I forgot that I had dry rotted a Gloriosum in the dry rot situation that happened. But it does have more or new roots coming out. It's not a ton, but it's starting to pick up, and I don't want to leave it in water for too long because I worry about the growth point starting to get like mushy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pot it up into, this was like a food container from a grocery store, and just added holes into the bottom of it because this will work well for this, especially since it's a crawler and it's going to want to travel. It's not going to have like a ton of room to travel, but that's okay. I'll probably sell it before that happens, and I don't want to overwhelm it with too much substrate. So I think that's what we're going to do here. I am going to go rinse these roots off real quick though, so give me 1 second. All right, so I'm just going to get some of this down into here. And so yeah, that is how I'm going to handle comments that are kind of like, maybe they didn't realize they were being rude. Like comments that aren't like off the wall and aren't nasty, because we're going to get to some nasty ones. But yeah, that's how I'm going to handle those. However, there are other comments that if they are made, you guys are never going to see them, because the second I see them, I will remove them and I will be blocking people. Now, on the off chance that I don't see a comment right away, because I'm not always right there checking my comments all day long, I try to check them like as frequently as possible right after a video is released. But there is a possibility, you guys, that you may see a nasty comment before I see the nasty comment. In that situation, I do not want anyone to feel in any form or fashion obligated to say something to those people, to defend me. If you feel the need to and you want to, that is 100% up to you, but it is in no form or fashion your responsibility to have to do that. If you do respond to them, please try to kind of be nice, as nice as you can about it, kind of like what I was just describing. And then when I see it, I will address it further if I need to. Now, in that regard, if you do decide to make a comment against somebody who's made a nasty, snarky, whatever it may be, comment, and they lash out back at you, I have zero tolerance for that. Anybody who comes after me is one thing. Anybody who comes after my subscribers is a whole nother story. I will not tolerate that. Anybody who goes after any of you guys is getting blocked, deleted, all the things that can be done. I will not tolerate it. So I just want to be clear in that regard. This is going to be a little bit tricky because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but those roots are like really high up, kind of on the top of this. Normally I wouldn't want to completely bury the stolon, but I might have to just because of how those roots are. Here's what I'm gonna do. You guys probably can't see it from that side, but I'm gonna put a little bit more substrate underneath the tip here to kind of push it up some. And then I'm just gonna cover from like here back higher where the roots are so that at least that front part is higher up. Just makes me nervous putting that much of it under the soil. I don't know, sometimes I gotta get a little bit tricky with how I pot up some of these crawlers, and this one is probably going to need some sort of support as well, just because it is going to be a little bit top heavy. So I might have to see if I have a chopstick or something that we can use here in a second. Just going to try and get a little bit more soil under that front part. Okay. It's standing on its own, but I don't trust it to stand on its own, so let me go find something to help support it. Okay, luckily had some chopsticks, but I need some tape. All right. Trying to decide. This is one of those situations where it's hard to tape it to the outside. I don't always like sticking it down into the soil, especially when it's the forest floor mix, because the chopsticks sometimes will get moldy. I have another idea. Plastic knife. That will work. So I'm just going to stick that down on this side, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of string here, craft string, I think, to wrap this around here and then kind of attach it to that so that hopefully it will stay stable. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I need to do this on all 4 sides with these Gloriosums. Whoop. Okay. She started to fall over. I think what I'm going to need to do is water this real quick just to get everything kind of settled in there, and then we'll attach it. All right, hopefully that will secure everything a little bit better in there so it's not moving around while I'm trying to tie this off. Okay, let's see here. Just need to get this tied. And while I'm doing this, just a little PSA, because it's been a while since I really did the PSA in the video, and this goes to another comment that I get quite frequently from new people to the channel, and that is, what's wrong with you? Why do you shake so much? Once again, probably could be phrased a little bit nicer than that. But for those of you who don't know, I have something called essential tremors. It is a neurological condition. It is not anything serious. It just causes me to shake. Some days it's worse than others. Certain things make it worse than others. So if you do see me shaking in a video, especially like a repot one where I'm really having to do like finite things with my hands, that's what's going on. I do not have Parkinson's. I do not have MS. Once again, it is nothing serious. And I do appreciate that most of you, after I clarify what the deal is, tell me, oh, thank you for letting me know. I was worried that you had Parkinson's or MS or something like that. So I appreciate the concern, but everything is okay. And that is one of those comments where those of you who have been here for a while, if you see that and I haven't replied to it, by all means, tell them what I have. You're helping me out. Okay, I think we're good to go here. You think we're secure-ish? Set this guy over here. Tell you. Some of these plants are just hard to keep stable lately. Okay, we are gonna move on to plants that need the epiphyte mix. All right, and then the next thing I wanna talk about, I don't even remember where I was with everything. I think I just finished saying about I'm not gonna tolerate people who come after you guys. So let's move into some of the examples of other things that have been getting posted on the channel. And I think I wanna start with some of the things that are just like, not necessarily mean, but they're not helpful. And it's like, why do you post it? I don't know. Like, this is gonna sound like an innocent comment to you guys probably, but it just irks me. And it's not just in regards to this on my channel. Things like this just irk me in general when people do them. But we're gonna go ahead. I do have some of the last Marble Queen pothos cuttings that we took together that have gotten roots that we need to pot up. So we're gonna do that next here. So an example of what I'm talking about when I say something that's not necessarily rude, I don't know, I kind of think it's rude, that's just me. But it's not hateful, it's not mean per se, but it's just like, it's not really helpful to people. So I had a guy comment on a video, I think it was my prayer plant care guide video. And basically he said in his comment, please don't listen to any of her advice. And that's it. That's all he said. Please don't listen to any of her advice. Didn't bother to offer why he thought you shouldn't listen to any of my advice. Didn't offer up what advice he thought people should listen to. Just please don't listen to any of her advice. And that irks me. It irks me. It's kind of like people who protest something but don't offer up a solution to the problem, right? I am all for everybody's right to protest, but I think protesting something holds more weight if you have legit solid reasons for why you're protesting it and you have a solution or proposed solution, or at least a partial proposed solution, or a plan of somebody who could help find a solution to the problem versus just protesting for the sake of protesting, if that makes sense. So this kind of comment, that's what it makes me think of. It's like, if you don't agree with what I am saying in that video, that is 100% okay. If you want to comment about it, once again, 100% okay. But say why you have a problem with it. Say what you experienced that works well. I mean, this is not helpful to anybody. I don't know why this person said that. Like, maybe they tried some of the things I said in the video and it didn't work for their plants, but clearly it's worked for my plants. You guys, I have posted so many Calathea catch-up videos and everything. Like, you guys have seen how my Calatheas are doing. They're doing fine. So obviously what I said in that care guide video, I told everybody how I take care of my Calathea. It's working for my plants. So why you would think nobody should follow that advice is beyond me. So once again, not like a hateful, rude, once again, I still think it's rude. Not a hateful comment, or mean, but just kind of like unnecessary, I guess, would be the word. Although I feel like they felt it was necessary, like it was going to be helpful to somebody. So we'll just say it was unhelpful. Now, truly unnecessary comments are the next comments that I want to talk about. I don't even know which one I want to start with. I do have a list over here to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. So let me see what I think. Okay, well, let's start with the one that happened first, not most recently, but the furthest back over the last month or two. And so I went on to check my comments, and this comment pops up, and it was a guy saying, "Your face scares me." Yeah, that's what he said. All right, great, because that's helpful. Not rude or not mean, or I just couldn't believe, you guys. I was like, really? This is really what you're doing there? And I think I did share this as a story somewhere. And so I think I found a screenshot that you're probably seeing of it there. What the heck, you guys? Like, okay, you don't like how I look, that's fine, but you don't need to go commenting about it. Just rude. I mean, if my face scares you that much that you can't handle watching a video, then just listen to it or move on to somebody else. You don't need to make a rude, nasty comment. Now, with comments like that, sometimes I might say something back like, that's really rude and uncalled for, perhaps consider being nicer to people in the future or something like that. Or I will just delete, block, whatever. On that one, I'm pretty sure I just deleted it. I don't think I actually blocked that person. It wasn't like some of the other stuff you're gonna see here shortly. But yeah, I was just kind of taken off guard. Talk about rude people in the world. Okay, this one is good to go. Up next, we do have two of the Philodendron Red Andersons that I think are going to possibly make it from that last order, the replacement order from Aeroid Asia. The leaves are not horrible on this one. If you'll remember, this one was all like kind of creased because of customs opening everything and not repackaging it correctly. And then this leaf was just funky, probably from being in the box for so long. We don't have a ton of roots. We do have a few new roots coming up at the top on both of these, but the longer I keep these semi-vining philodendron in water, I have discovered the more likely they are to go to complete and total mush. So that is why we are going to go ahead and pot these up, but we are only going to be putting them into tiny little, I think it's a 5-ounce cup like this. And I am going to go rinse these roots off real quick since I feel like it's been a hot minute since I changed out this water. So give me 1 second. Okay, we are rinsed off, and I grabbed my snips because I think, at least on this one, I'm probably going to need, and once again, I don't know why all the roots are growing like weird on the plants we're potting up today, because you can see those are growing like up instead of down into the water, which makes it more difficult to pot these up. I don't even know. I don't know. Plants got a mind of their own. So I think I might have to cut this lower part off because of that, because I really want to make sure that I get those in the soil, and I don't want to like force it way down in there. So I'm just gonna take a little bit off the bottom there. This is kind of thick. Like normally I would like to let that kind of callus over. I'm also just gonna go ahead and cut this extra where the old leaf was off of there. Normally I would like to let that callus over, but what I probably will do is I'm just gonna get this potted up in here, and then I'm gonna wait to water it until after I'm done filming this video and everything, and that will give it a little bit of time to callus over. Being in contact with the dry substrate will also help to dry that out a bit more quickly. Speaking of drying, I need to dry my hands off. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I'm just gonna get this started just like with everything, just with a little bit of soil down in the bottom, and then get it positioned in there. And I'm gonna try to gently kind of get that root to go down a little bit. I'll just wait to mess with it once I get some more of the soil higher up in there. But yeah, so there's an example of just rude, unnecessary comments, and the rude, unnecessary comments are actually what's been happening more often than not. And I want to be clear that I don't even think, this does not constitute trolling to me. This is just what I like to call haters. And it almost doesn't even come across as hateful. Like, I don't think they think they're doing anything wrong. I don't think they are trying to be mean. I think this is just for some reason they think this is acceptable behavior. I have no clue, but we will have an example of full-fledged trolling towards the end of this video. Don't you worry. So another comment that's happened, let's see which one. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll just stick with comments about my general appearance for a bit here. So this happened, I think it was a few weeks ago now. I'm trying to think, I don't even remember what video it was on. And this person's comment did get full-fledged deleted, and I'll explain why here in a second. And this was a weird situation. So it was shortly after a video had been released. I don't even remember if it was a comment on the video that was released that day or if they were watching a different video that they had made this comment on. But I saw it pop up, and just so you guys know, when I'm looking at comments in the YouTube like app on my phone, I can filter it by comments I haven't responded to, and that's what I do because in general, I'm on there looking for comments that I haven't replied to and making sure I reply to you guys when I have time. And so it showed up, and I was kind of taken aback when I saw it, and I was like, did that say what I think it said? And then I got distracted. I think Theo was doing something, probably, because you guys know how Theo is. So I got distracted by him, and when I came back to it, like I couldn't find it anymore. Oh, you know what? I know what video it was on. It was on the last Houseplanty Ranty video where I was actually talking about rude things people do and say on Planty Facebook. And so I came back and I couldn't find it, and I was like, well, I wonder if they deleted it. And I did notice before I'd gotten distracted that it said somebody had replied to the comment. And so I was wondering if maybe one of you had said something like, that's kind of rude. Like, why would you say that? So I went back because I wanted to see what the reply said. And like I said, I couldn't find it. And I was like, well, maybe this person made the comment early on in that video. And considering I talk in that video about making rude comments and how rude it is, perhaps then they decided, oh, maybe I should delete that comment. Like, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, maybe you were listening to what I was saying in the video and it sunk in. This one's good to go. We'll move on to the next one. But yeah, that's just wishful thinking, you guys. Those kinds of people, that's not how that works. So I finally figured out later that it showed up briefly. I don't even know how long it was there for after I got distracted. Showed up briefly as live on the video comments, and then very quickly got moved by YouTube into comments held for review. So you can actually set YouTube up to where it can flag comments for like language or potential controversial issues or things like that. It will flag them and move them into a folder for you to review before either deleting them, reporting and deleting them, blocking them, whatever you may want to do, or saying, oh no, that's not actually a harmful comment, approved, and then it goes over. Well, it had moved it over there because it had flagged it. I'm gonna have to cut part of the bottom of this one off too, you guys, just a little bit. So yeah, it had gotten moved, so I found it, and not only did they feel like they had to make this comment once, but that reply that I couldn't see that I thought might be from one of you guys telling them that they were being rude, no, this person felt the need to reply to their own horrible comment, reiterating the horrible comment. So here's the original comment. I'm not even gonna read this out loud. I feel like it's gonna flag me for something if I say it out loud. But once again, obviously talking about my appearance, obviously completely rude and uncalled for. Yeah, they made the same kind of comment to their own comment, basically saying it's a good video, but I'm too distracted by what they're saying. I can't, you guys. I can't with people. I mean, can we just have a brief discussion about eyebrows real quick? Let's just have this conversation because I feel like a lot of people don't understand certain things. Okay, here's the deal. Do I fill in my eyebrows? Yes, I fill in my eyebrows. Why do I fill in my eyebrows? Well, that's because for those of you who are younger than me, I was raised by a generation of women who were raised by another generation of women who were raised by another generation of women, and so on and so forth, who thought that plucking your eyebrows was the way to go. We now know, for the younger generation, it's not a good idea. You can overpluck and the hair won't come back, but nobody told us that when we were teenagers and we were trying to style our eyebrows and everything. It was just, that's what our moms did, that's what our grandmothers did, that's what our great-grandmothers did, so that's what we did. So now there's this whole multi-generational group of women out there who have like not great eyebrows because we all overpluck them. And so the only option we have is to fill them in, get like permanent, what's it called? Microblading, which, by the way, you guys, there's a new thing other than that I would highly recommend, because microblading has now been proven to cause, I think it's called keloids, which are the overactive scarring that you get sometimes when you get tattoos. And so people are ending up with permanent scarring on their face. There is something now called, I think it's called shading, something like that, that doesn't go as deep, and it's a powder, not a liquid. And it's supposed to be a way better option. My friend who was living with me, her friend does permanent makeup, and you wouldn't even know it. She does her own. And so I was shocked when I saw like how great her eyebrows look, because she's also the generation that overplucked. And so, yeah, that's kind of the options we have. Now, doing that is expensive. I actually have wanted to do it, and actually I've been talking to her friend about doing it when I lost my job, and because it is, I think it was like $600 or something just for the initial, because that covers like the initial and then touch-ups and everything like that. And then she said it would last like 2 to 3 years. And so I was like thinking about doing it, because honestly, you guys, filling in your eyebrows, not that big of a deal. But when you have essential trimmers like I do, mascara and filling in eyebrows is not fun. I can't even tell you how many times I've accidentally poked myself in the eye with a mascara brush. I cannot put mascara on without it getting somewhere on my skin. I always have to go back with a wet Q-tip and like remove around. That's also why for a while, some of y'all might have noticed back last fall and winter, when my friend did end up living with me for a while, she does eyelashes, eyelash extensions. That's why my eyelashes kind of look like I was wearing false eyelashes for a while, is because she offered to do that as part of like payment for staying here with me. And yeah, and it makes my life a lot easier because then I don't have to worry about poking myself in the eye. You have no idea how long it takes me to do makeup, you guys. And I don't do anything except powder, eyebrows, mascara, and a little bit of color on my lips, and that's it. But it takes me forever just because of the eyebrows and the mascara and the fact that I shake. I am probably getting way more information out here to you guys than you really want. But the point I am making is, don't make fun of people's eyebrows, especially of a certain generation, because I can't, like if I filled them in past where the actual hair grows, it would be really obvious, it would look really weird, and then this person would probably make fun of me for that. So I just saw this and I just was like, really? Like, and the fact that you chose to call them what you called them is even ruder. I mean, talk about somebody who has no class. Like, just shut up. Sorry. Just shut up. I would love to know what their eyebrows look like. But moving on. All right, so we've got these plants potted up. I brought out, well, let me grab them real quick. And before I forget, you guys, I did report and delete that last comment, 2 comments that we were talking about, well, from that same person, since YouTube flagged it anyway as potentially hurtful. I just went through their process in that flagged for review field. Okay, so I brought Freddy out because Freddy has been losing a lot of leaves lately. He is still flowering a lot, but I'm wondering if maybe Freddy doesn't need a repot. And of course, as it goes with me, I just watered him the other day, so not my favorite time to repot. Like, I'd rather him be a little bit more dry before I repot him, but I'm just kind of worried about him. I don't know. But he is pushing out a new leaf. I don't know. Oh, 2 new leaves, 1 here and 1 there. Finally. Good job, Freddy. Get it. All right, let's see what we're working with. He also has just been drying out a lot more quickly, and right after I water him, he still feels kind of light. And a lot of times with these plants that are in my forest floor mix like this, I let them sit. Like, I'll purposefully put like more water so that there's maybe about this much in the tray, and I'll let them sit because they'll kind of bottom water reabsorb even more water than just what I poured through if I were to just pick it up and let it drain out right away. But even now he's not reabsorbing, so I don't know what's going on. But this feels really loose. I have a feeling he's just massively overgrown tuber situation that we're about to see here. But let's see. Well, that is honestly not as bad as I was expecting it to be. What is up with you, Freddy? I mean, you see the big tubers down there, but he's not root bound. I mean, the roots that we can see here are healthy too. It's not like he's got like root rot. Why are you freaking out, Fred? That is so bizarre. Okay, well, I'm not going to repot him then because he doesn't really need it. And you can also see here where Theo has been munching down on his leaves, so that might be part of the problem. I swear, that cat. At least he has moved on now to primarily chewing on pet safe plants. It's hard for him to get to this one. He's got to like stretch off of my bed to actually get to it, so I don't even know. And once again, he only does it when he wants me to like wake up or something. Like, it's all attention getting. I need to get him some more pet grass. Oh, I actually saw a really cool Sydney plant guy. If you guys don't follow him, follow him. He's fun, and he has a cute cat that reminds me a little bit of the first cat I ever had as an adult. But he just got like some cool thing from some company that's like a self-watering like pet plant kit thing where I was like, what? Might have to like reach out to that company and see if we can get one of those for Theo, because I was like, this seems kind of fun. And I will say that pet grass that I got him before, you guys, that supposedly said it doesn't get moldy, it got moldy. So I need to do some research on how to get it not to be moldy. Or actually, since a lot of you have more experience than me with pet grass, if you have any tips on preventing the mold on pet grass, comment down below and let me know. All right, I think I got Freddy top back off here. Hopefully this is just because of all this flowering. Oh, Fred, you need to stop it with all of this flower business. Come on. Pluck these out while we're here, but there's a bunch more coming in. And like I said in the recent video, you guys, it's so tight down in there. Like, all that's like old flower junk. Like, it's so hard to get them out of there. Ugh, I don't know. All right, well, we know the roots are healthy, so there's not much I can do here other than, and he's been fertilized regularly and everything, so there's not much I can do here other than to maybe make sure that I'm watering him soon enough. Maybe because like I said, he's been drying out a little bit more quickly, so I just need to probably pay attention, because it used to be like once every 7 days approximately that I would have to water him. I probably need to bump that up to once every 4 or 5 days for now. And we'll see what happens. He should be getting ready to stop flowering here in the next month or so, though at least that's what happened last year. But I'm gonna go ahead and set him back aside, and I think I have another plant that we're going to repot. Okay, we're gonna see what the little rattlesnake that could. This is once again the rattlesnake Calathea from the Is It Really a Dead video. That video is so old on this channel now. Well, compared to the age of the channel. So for those of you who haven't seen that video, I will link it down below for you, but we have filled in nicely. It's basically the same size it is now as when I bought it, but I feel like it has also been drying out more quickly. Let me use a different tray, just in case there's something going on I don't know about. I get more concerned about that with Calathea than anything else, about like maybe there's spider mites in the soil or whatnot. Let me get this out and see if he definitely needs it, and then we'll get back to our comments. Yes, he definitely does need it. And here, if you guys can see on the bottom there, this is kind of how I was suspecting we were going to be needing it, was because these tubers are forming and it was pushing it up out of the pot. You will see that happen a lot with Calathea, Stromanthe, Tenanthe sometimes, not quite as much I feel like as Calathea, Stromanthe, and then Marantos. Marantos will definitely do it as well. That's always a good sign that you might need to be repotting one of these types of plants. If you see that happening, just take it out. If it's root bound like this, then yes, you're gonna want to take it up. And of course, I just recently watered this. Not the ideal situation, but I am gonna just take it up. I think this is a little bit bigger maybe than I would like. I think it'll be okay. So we're gonna take it up into this once again with the forest floor mix. I don't really want to just set this on the counter. Set that there. Okay, so while I'm doing this, what do we have next? Oh yes, this one was very awkward. This might be one of the most awkward comments that we will be discussing today, for sure. I feel like I need to mix this up a little bit more. I feel like my chunky parts have all fallen to the bottom. So while I'm mixing this up, let me just go ahead and throw this up on screen for you. I realize there's some broken English, messed up grammar, whatever. You might be reading this being like, what are they talking about? I knew immediately what they were talking about. Once again, this is kind of an appearance thing-ish, sort of. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't remember off the top of my head what video this was on. I'll flash it up on screen for you guys. But a while back, probably maybe about 6 months into making videos on this channel, I started to notice when I was editing videos that I was doing a very weird thing with my eyes, I guess I should say, that I didn't even realize I was doing. And it really kind of creeped me out. The first video I was editing where I saw it, I was really kind of self-conscious about it. Honestly, I was like, what? Why am I doing that? Like, I don't even know I'm doing that. And I went back and checked a bunch of my other recent videos and was like, have I been doing this in other videos? And I wasn't. So I don't know what happened that this just started happening out of nowhere. I remember reaching out to my sister and being like, are you seeing this? And she described it as like a weird, slow left eye, I think it was my left eye, blink. And she said she thought maybe it was just like a nervous tick that I didn't realize I was doing. And it happened for quite a while around that time. And it got to the point where I would actively try to be like self-aware of if it was happening, and I would re-record if I was like, crap, you're doing that eye thing. Like, it's just so weird, you guys. So basically, whenever I would look kind of like down or like half close my eyes like this, I would, for some reason, to me it felt like normal, like both eyes were going down at the same time. But for some reason, the left one was like, once again, I think it was the left one. Could have been the right one, but I'm pretty sure it was the left one. The left one was like totally closing, and the right one was only going to where I thought both eyes were going. And it looked crazy to me. Nobody ever commented on it though. So if you guys noticed and didn't say anything, well, that's because you're nice people, unlike this person, because I know that's what this person is commenting about. I didn't even have to go look at the video. The second I read the comment, I was like, they're commenting about that weird thing that was going on with my eye. Now, I will say it seems to not be doing it anymore. Every now and again, like it kind of does it like a little bit, but not as noticeable as it was back then. I honestly don't know why, you guys, but all I know, maybe I do that quite frequently and I just didn't know it. It's not like I'd ever been filming myself on a regular basis before, and people probably were polite enough around me that if I was doing it in person, that they weren't going to say like, what's going on with your eye? It's kind of wonky. So yeah, who knows why was happening or whatever. But this comment is so bizarre, you guys. It is so bizarre. It was so like out of left field, and not even because they're saying like, hey, you've got this weird thing. They are now associating it with me being a psychopath, as they put it, I think. And based on something they read somewhere, who even knows what that something was? I'm like, this is so weird. But what's even weirder is it's also written in a way where it kind of sounds like they're hitting on me. And if you're hitting on me because you think psychos are attractive, like, I gotta wonder what you're like. Not that I would ever, like, consider, like, getting involved with anybody who hits on me on a comment on my YouTube channel, you guys, but just putting it out there that, like, how would you think this was gonna, like, win your favor with somebody? I don't know. It was so bizarre, though, that I felt the need to reply to it. So I did. I have not heard back from this person, but I basically was like, that is a very rude comment. Like, that's totally uncalled for. Like, I didn't say anything extremely rude back. Like, I didn't berate them or anything, but I was just like, that's really rude and uncalled for. I also felt the need to point out that I'm not what they're accusing me of doing. Like, so weird, you guys. So weird. Like, why do people think it's okay to make these kinds of comments? Like, it's so bizarre. But I mean, it's also kind of funny. So that's why I'm just kind of laughing it off, you guys. Like, I don't want anybody to be commenting on this video like, well, you need to just like blow these people off and you need to not let it get to you. I'm not letting it get to me, you guys. I just think it's funny. And I just felt the need to let you guys know, like, I mean, I guess to a certain extent we could say we've made it, you guys. We've made it. As a channel, we have gotten big enough to warrant people wanting to post ridiculous comments and troll the channel. But anyways, yeah, this was so weird. And they have not replied back since I commented on it, like with what I said, what I had to say about it. I've just left it up there. If it becomes a thing where like a bunch of other people are saying mean things to this person or whatever, I will take it down. But yeah, so bizarre. Now, I will have to say I'm trying to mix in a little bit of the good with the crazy in this video. So like I had talked about the person who at the very start of the video who had made that comment on the houseplant tour video and how, you know, I said something to them, we had an exchange and everything was cool because they're a cool person and they're not crazy. So yeah, in that regard, I will also go ahead and point out that I have actually been getting hit on by other people in comments on videos in a nice way. It's still just weird to me that people like say some of the things they do, but I would like to say thank you for this person for just saying something nice and normal that somebody who met somebody like, I don't know, out at a bar or something would say versus what that last person said. So there are people out there who know how to get a point across, I guess, without being like weird or rude about it. So thank you. All right, we have one more to talk about, and this is the one that I consider an official troll, and I didn't even realize what was happening at the beginning, and then I was like, oh crap, this is an actual troller. Now I will apologize, I did end up blocking this person and reporting them. It did get out of hand, like borderline harassment pretty quickly, and so for that reason I did not get screenshots of every single back and forth comment with this person, but I can give you the gist of the in-between. So this was a comment that was made on the second box of death order video. Started out like a lot of y'all's comments just saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry like that you're having to deal with this. I believe they said something about, I'm so heartbroken for you. But then they said after that, like, so all the niceties, like, so heartbreaking for you, this broken for you, this is so horrible, but also, you know, maybe don't order plants when it's that hot outside. Okay, so the whole reason I even replied to this comment in the first place, you guys, is because I was confused. So at first when I read the comment, I thought, well, maybe they just don't realize yet where they are in the video, or they hadn't seen the previous video and they just didn't understand that this wasn't like I bought these plants specifically in the heat of summer and had them shipped to me. I think in my mind, I was thinking they just didn't get it, but they were implying, or at least I felt like they were implying based on what they said, that I had purposefully ordered plants when it was like triple-digit heat outside and it's my own fault. And so I just replied back and just basically stated the facts, saying I didn't actually order the plants. This was a replacement order for some plants that I had ordered way back in May when it was way cooler outside that got delayed or lost by DHL for an extra week. And so the plants came in dead. This was just a replacement order for that. Now, I thought that made it pretty clear that I didn't purposefully order these plants in the middle of summer. I don't think my comment was rude. I just was matter-of-factly saying, oh, basically to clarify, I didn't order these plants. We are good to go here. I'm gonna let this sit possibly even till tomorrow before I water it, just because the plant was still so wet from the last time I watered it, and I don't want to end up like in an overwatering situation, but hopefully he will be a lot happier in here. He's got more room to spread out and everything. So I'm just gonna set him aside, and that is the last plant we had to repot. So I'm just gonna finish up this last little story for you guys, but let me wash my hands off real quick. All right, you guys, so part of the reason I wanted to wash my hands off was so that I could grab my phone, which was being used as my secondary camera, so that I could actually get this particular situation correct for you. So unfortunately, I do not have screenshots of everything that I sent back to this person, but I remember what I said for the most part. And here, though, is their response to my telling them, just clarifying the situation. So basically they said, then I remove any suggestions whatsoever. Sorry to have made any suggestions at all. Good luck living in Texas. It's like a whole nother country, y'all, and bless your heart. I don't know what the deal is with the weird Texas stereotyping that they decided to go into here. I'm not originally from Texas anyway, so like, I don't know if they thought it was gonna offend me or what, but it was weird. All right, so I replied back to this and I started off with just, wow, that was slightly rude, because it was slightly rude. And then I said, I honestly don't see any suggestions that you made. You did, however, imply that I had purposefully ordered plants in the dead heat of summer, and all I was doing was clarifying to you that that was not the situation. I'm sorry if it came across a different way, as that was not my intention. So basically said, I'm sorry, here's just what I was trying to do. I didn't mean for it to come across that way. Oh no, this person was already on a rant. So the next response I got, and it was like boom, boom, boom. This person was on it, just quick to respond. Should have been my first indication that this was a troller. The next response was, I didn't mean to be rude, as you say. It's just that when when a terrible mistake is made and then repeated, I have little sympathy. I don't know why all these things are put in quotes. For people who wear 10-gallon hats to cover a half-pint brain. Maybe order in midwinter so they won't cook in the heat. Again, bless your heart. For those of you who don't understand the bless your heart thing, because I don't know how many people know about that, but it's a misunderstood thing, first of all. Bless your heart is something that typically people of an older generation than me, who have lived in not just Texas, but in the South in general, Southern United States, their entire lives, have a tendency to say to people in situations where it's kind of like, oh, how didn't you know that? Oh, bless your heart. You know, like, bless your heart, you're kind of not on top of it, or it kind of has this connotation, which is why they're saying it, of you're dumb, you're naive, you're whatever. But it's not the only time that people use this, and that's what annoys me about it. It's become this stereotypical thing, but like grandmothers all over the South say it all the time, and they don't always just say it in those types of situations, but somehow it's spread to the rest of the country as it's an insult or whatever. So that's what all of that is about. But apparently this person just thought it was going to be so offensive to me, so they kept saying it. But anyways, so yeah, I also think it's funny that they're like, order in the middle of winter so the plants won't cook. So you want me to order them in the middle of winter so they'll freeze to death? Because that makes sense. So yeah, I was just taken aback, and I was just like, I think my next response to this was, and my dad was here visiting, by the way, the whole time, you guys, and he kept trying to reply to her or him. Ended up being a guy. We found his YouTube channel. Lives in the Northwest somewhere. And so he kept trying to say, I'm like, Dad, just stop. I'll handle it. But he kept trying to say things. He's like, well, tell him this, tell him that. I'm like, I'll tell him what I'm going to tell him. So my next response was, I've already explained to you that I didn't purposely order these plants. I would appreciate it if you would stop repeatedly saying something that isn't true. That's all I said, you guys. I don't feel like I've been rude at all. Please comment down below and let me know if you disagree with me. I believe, was this, oh, I don't even have a screenshot of the next one. The next one was like a mile long, you guys, and it had so many, like, more attempts at like Texas insults, like mentioning like redneck something lifestyle and like all this other kind of crap. I mean, you've seen how long these were. It was like 5 times longer than that. And I was just like, what the heck? And I was just like, once again, I have asked you to please refrain from stating falsities. This is the last time, like, I'm gonna ask you to stop this. And then they came back with this and said, I'm no longer heartbroken. Composting greenbacks rather than innocent plants is less wasteful though. Bless your heart, again, in all caps. I don't even want to try to understand what they're talking about. Composting money rather than, I don't even know. At this point, I realized that they were a troll, and was my final response my classiest? Maybe not, but considering how they had handled themselves, I finally replied back one final time before reporting and blocking them with, oh, sweetheart, I see now you're just a common troller. Bless your heart. And I don't tolerate that here, so goodbye now. And that is basically where we stand with trollers and haters on this channel. And once again, all of this has happened in the last few months. And it used to be like I could go probably 3 or 4 months with one kind of weird comment, but nobody like going back and forth that crazy with me about something over like me just clarifying a fact. But yeah, you just have to sit back and laugh, you guys, at this kind of thing. But I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, let you know how I'm going to be handling it, and most importantly, let you know that if you do choose to say something on my behalf, or not on my behalf, on your behalf, because you care about me, that somebody says that I haven't seen yet, that's 100% okay. But I also wanted you guys to be aware that if anybody comes after you, it will not be tolerated. They will be blocked immediately. But I'm glad I was also able to get some of these plants potted up today. And of course, I will give you a future update on how everybody is doing. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If so, please be sure to click that like and or subscribe button down below. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Aloha!